You just said that every other attorney general acts a certain way, people around the president. That is Eric Holder saying, I am the wingman of Barack Obama.
And can you give us an example of a prosecution
that he... totally out of context.
No, I'm not. I'm literally, he's literally saying my allegiance is not to the Constitution, as you just stated. He's saying my allegiance is to the President of the United States of America, my wingman. Again, I'm just going back. He didn't say my allegiance is the wingman to the Constitution.
Name a case where Obama weighed in and put his thumb on the
I go back to what I just said.
Exactly.
You can't tell me that there's not attorney generals
that
have not said their allegiance is to the president.
You talk louder because you can't name it.
What did he just say? He said it was unprecedented.
No, it is.
He just said the wingman, not the Constitution, to Barack Obama.
The meddling is unprecedented, and you know that, and you talk around.
In today's video, Abby Phillip absolutely destroys Ben Ferguson in a heated debate on Newsnight with Abby Phillip. Presidents have always pushed boundaries. Nixon tried, LBJ leaned on agencies, even Reagan blurred lines. But Donald Trump takes it to a whole new level. He's not even hiding it. He literally demanded the DOJ prosecute James Comey and other political rivals, something no president has done this blatantly before. So let's dive in and watch how Abby Phillip shuts down Ben Ferguson on Newsnight with Abby Phillip.
James Comey has been indicted after the president ordered his DOJ to charge him. So where does this stand in American presidential history? CNN historian Tim Naftali joins us to help contextualize all of this. Tim, when it comes to presidents obviously wanting to prosecute their political enemies, I can't imagine this is new, but actually doing it is another story. Tell us what the history says.
This is the most blatant presidential intervention in a prosecution. Richard Nixon tried to bribe the judge in Daniel Ellsberg's case, offered him actually to be the director of the FBI. The judge could not be bribed. Richard Nixon also intervened in the William Calley case and reduced the sentence. That was a military court sentence after the My Lai massacre. So Nixon did intervene, but this is taking presidential intervention to a new level in American history. Not only did the president complain that his original assistant U.S. attorney was not willing to pull the trigger on an indictment, but his attorney general made clear in her very first letter to every single lawyer that you must zealously defend the interests of the United States, and they are defined by Donald J. Trump. Whereas every previous attorney general made clear that their oath was to the Constitution of the United States. We live in a country where your oath is not to the president. But Pam Bondi made clear the president will decide what is in our interests, which means he will decide when to prosecute.
Eric Holder said, and I quote, "I'm still the president's wingman." Eric Holder brushed off questions Thursday about when he might leave the administration. Instead, the top lawman professed his allegiance to President Barack Obama. Let's not say it's unprecedented. You just said that every other attorney general acts a certain way, people around the president. That is Eric Holder saying, I am the wingman of Barack Obama.
And can you give us an example of a prosecution
that he... totally out of context.
No, I'm not. I'm literally, he's literally saying my allegiance is not to the Constitution, as you just stated. He's saying my allegiance is to the President of the United States of America, my wingman. Again, I'm just going back. He didn't say my allegiance is the wingman to the Constitution.
Name a case where Obama weighed in and put his thumb on the
I go back to what I just said.
Exactly.
You can't tell me that there's not attorney generals
that
have not said their allegiance is to the president.
You talk louder because you can't name it.
What did he just say? He said it was unprecedented.
No, it is.
He just said the wingman, not the Constitution, to Barack Obama.
The meddling is unprecedented, and you know that, and you talk around it.
Before you jump in?
Sure.
For just a moment.
Watching this exchange between Tim Naftali and Ben Ferguson, I couldn't help but think how wild it is that people are even trying to equate what Trump's doing to anything in modern US history. Ben Ferguson keeps reaching for Eric Holder's wingman comment, but there's a key difference. Obama's DOJ didn't criminally indict Mitt Romney or John McCain or anyone else for opposing him. Words like wingman don't matter if there's no actual abuse of prosecutorial power behind them. And historically, Tim's right, there's simply nothing like this. Nixon tried to meddle, but his own DOJ pushed back. Even Reagan, who took heat for Iran-Contra, didn't order prosecutors to indict his political enemies. The independence of the Department of Justice has always been treated as a red line, even when it's been stretched. Trump isn't stretching, he's crossing it with a bullhorn. Also, let's be real about Pam Bondi's memo. It's not just some innocuous policy letter. It's essentially rewriting the DOJ's mission to serve the president personally instead of the Constitution. That's straight out of the authoritarian playbook. Look at Hungary under Orban or Turkey under Erdogan. Once prosecutors serve the leader instead of the law, the entire system flips from democracy to rule by decree. That's why Tim's point hits so hard. This isn't about Trump's personality, it's about a dangerous precedent if this stands. Future presidents, Republican or Democrat, could start jailing opponents as routine politics. That's not wingman territory, that's banana republic territory.
Sure.
I mean, I'm going to repeat Charles's question because I think it's a valid question. Is there an example that comes to your mind of President Obama leaning on his wingman to change the outcome of a case?
I don't know if there was a case. My point is he wasn't saying his allegiance was to
You
the
know there wasn't a case.
Was there a case?
It's not that you don't know. You know there wasn't.
I don't
you
know
there
if there
wasn't.
was or
And
wasn't a case,
You
but
thought
I
it
do know
was
his
very
allegiance
convenient
was not
to
the
try to
Constitution
drag
as he just
Barack
described
Obama and Eric Holder into
right.
this mess that is really Donald Trump's and Pam Bundy.
Go back
I
to
think
say,
the
he
broader
didn't
point,
agree. He pledged
the
allegiance to
broader
Obama.
point,
Yeah.
Lindsay,
It's not Obama.
is about what this means for the future of the DOJ. And in a way, you were talking about Trump supporters that you know. He did say he was going to do this, that he was going to use the DOJ to prosecute his political enemies. Now that it's happening, is this going to raise any red flags?
He also said he was going to lock Hillary Clinton up over and over and over. He said, lock her up, lock her up. They don't believe that. They believe that he's going to bring back the economy, that he's going to defend their jobs, that he's going to actually work for them. And right now, we are not seeing that. Even in Iowa, I was just talking with folks. No, they're not seeing markets. India, they were selling to India for a long time. They don't have the markets. Farmers are struggling. We've got manufacturing closing. Those are the problems that Americans care about. And so you can say all you want about this being, you can say all you want about it being a political winner.
Thank you.
But I just think when you're going after someone for something about perceived retribution, and you have to explain that to the American people, and they are losing their jobs, you are losing.
That's the second night in a row where that talking point's been used.
No.
It's the second night. It must have been
It's
sent out
not
by
a
the Democratic
talking
Party.
point.
The
No,
president is doing
it
pretty
is.
good on the economy,
Tim,
and the American people, I think, agree with that.
Tim,
I
I'm
wish.
curious what you think. I think and by the way, I should say, I apologize, Joanna. I was thinking Lindsay Halligan is in my head.
What stood out to me watching this debate is how Ben Ferguson keeps trying to drag Obama and Eric Holder into the mix without a single example of actual prosecutions ordered by them. That's the tell, because unlike Trump, Obama never instructed the DOJ to go after John McCain, Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell, or any of his critics. In fact, Obama's DOJ got heat from Democrats for not going after Bush-era officials over torture. That's a real-world example of respecting the independence of the DOJ even when the political base was demanding action. And on the economic point, this idea that Trump's base is doing well just isn't borne out by the numbers. US Department of Agriculture data shows farm bankruptcies spiked to an 8-year high during Trump's trade war with China, especially in the Midwest. Manufacturing jobs that were supposed to come roaring back actually peaked in 2019 and then plummeted even before the pandemic. Those lost markets to India and China, they haven't come back. And for the first time in decades, small family farms became more dependent on federal bailouts just to stay afloat. So when Abby Phillip and Joanna push back on Ben Ferguson's narrative, they're not just making it about politics, they're reflecting hard data. This isn't about talking points from Democrats. It's about Trump saying he'd use the DOJ for revenge and now literally doing it. While the working class communities who put him in office are still waiting for the economic miracle he promised. That's why this moment matters. It's not just about ethics and democracy. It's also about basic competence. If you're going to politicize the justice system while your base loses markets and jobs, that's not populism. It's self-sabotage.
But the through line between these two conversations is that oftentimes when Donald Trump is back against the wall, he does revert back to some of his promises of this nature. He goes to targeting his political enemies when, his approval ratings on immigration and on the economy and on all these other issues that he should be strong on are headed south. Do you see this as sort of a defense mechanism, and will it work, or is there a risk that it could offend just regular Americans going about their day-to-day lives?
I have two answers. The first answer is this is not Trump 1. In Trump 1, rhetoric did not always lead to action. President Trump, over the course of his 4-year interregnum, learned some things about how to run the federal government. And Trump 2 is fundamentally different. His words matter. He says he's going to go after you, he's going to go after you. So, number one, these are action statements. In Trump 1, sometimes it was just frustration. Frustration because there were all these guardrails. Now, these are action statements. Number 2, he only trusts his base. One reason why we're in such trouble right now is that we don't have a president who wants to persuade anybody. He's given up persuasion.
Well, he doesn't need to because he's
he doesn't need to for his base.
Well,
he does because but here's the point. He is saying this to make his base happy because his base is worried about the price of eggs, although they've come down lately.
Oh, lie.
No, they're back to where they were in October.
We were.
They're back to where but here's the point. They have reason to be unhappy that promises have not been kept. So this rhetoric is red meat to them. But what's different from Trump 1 is this isn't just red meat. These are orders. These are action statements.
That he ran on.
What Tim Naftali is laying out really resonates because the pattern is clear when you zoom out. Every time Trump's approval numbers start slipping, whether it's over immigration chaos, inflation fears, or foreign policy blunders, he pivots back to vengeance politics, and the data backs that up. A Pew Research survey showed that during his presidency, Trump's approval among independents cratered whenever he doubled down on personal attacks or threats against opponents. It's like clockwork. Instead of broadening his coalition, he narrows it further. And Tim's point about Trump 2.0 being different is important. You only have to look at the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 to see it. A blueprint openly promising to purge civil servants and replace them with Trump loyalists. That's not rhetoric, that's a plan. Combine that with Trump already pressuring his attorney general in his first term, and you can see how much further he's willing to push without the same guardrails. What's striking is that this isn't even popular beyond his hardcore base. A recent NPR Morris poll found that nearly 70% of Americans, including a majority of independents, oppose using the DOJ to investigate political enemies. So while Trump thinks this tactic fires up his supporters, for most Americans it looks less like strength and more like a president consumed by vendetta rather than governance. Pause. Are you getting tired of getting half the story from biased news sources? One outlet says one thing and another says the complete opposite. How are you supposed to know what's actually true? That's where ground news comes in. It lets you compare how different media outlets, left, right, and center, are covering the same story. So you can see the full picture instead of just the echo chamber. And here's the best part. Click the link in the description and get 40% off the Vantage tier, which gives you even deeper insights into media bias and political trends. Stay informed, think for yourself, and check out Ground News in the description down below.